I saw this TEDx talk that led to another one, and they are so good, and they state everything so wonderfully about women and ADHD and all the things that we've talked about, that I had to share these. And I'm just going to sort of speak this. It's Heather Brannon's words, not mine. Most of the time, when you think of somebody with ADHD, this is what you think of. A little girl jumping on the bed, or someone like me. Someone who talks fast and is disorganized and, you know, the whole mess, the whole visible, obvious, hot mess in front of people, that kind of thing. But now I'd like for you to meet, we'll call her Sally. Sally is an incredibly creative person. She has a master's in fine arts from Boston University. She's the person that people at work come to if they need fresh ideas. Sally has ADHD. So she's driving down the road, and there's this constant conversation going on inside her head. She's thinking, why did I have to look at that last email? I thought it was going to take me 2 minutes to write a response, and 20 minutes later, stupid thing still isn't written, and I'm late. And I would say I'm going to do better next time, but I say that every single day, and nothing changes. And then friends and family, people who love Sally, say things like, you forgot. How could you forget? I told you 10 times. Are you listening to me? Do you need to get your ears checked? Are you not paying attention? You can see that this is a hard place for her to have confidence, because Sally has her voice on the inside of her head telling her she's not doing well, and she has voices on the outside of her head confirming it. So this makes Sally anxious. As you can imagine, a lot of adults who have ADHD, adults, feel anxious, actually. 75% of adults who have anxiety actually have ADHD as the cause of their anxiety. Thank you for saying it. It's why it's not enough just that, like, I need people to know the truth about ADHD and doctors to know the truth. More people that we can hear in our lives say, no, it is a real thing. It's really not something you can help. You just have to work with it. But that women like myself that had anxiety and depression, it's so much better and so manageable because I know what the source is. I know what caused it. And when it's something undiagnosed that you don't even realize is something you could take meds for or treat, and it would make the anxiety and the depression better. Whether they're anxious or not, they know something is not right, and they'll make monumental efforts to make it right, but it's still not right. And they're usually waiting for the other shoe to drop, for everybody else to figure out they're not as competent as they appear. But here's the thing, Sally is competent. So what's going on? What is going on with ADHD? At its core, ADHD is a deficiency of neurotransmitters. I know I've covered that. Mainly dopamine and norepinephrine. You need dopamine to be interested in things, like what your husband's telling you to get at the grocery store. And you need norepinephrine for executive functions, like concept of time and prioritizing. Because you need to know how much time has passed, so you know whether you need to stop answering that email so you can get to your appointment. What? I don't know what she's talking about. And now let's say we're going to meet Tom. He's a people person. He's a great friend. He can connect with just about anybody. Tom checks his mail about once a week. Usually when the door of the mailbox won't close all the way because there's so much mail in there. Tom has to force himself to go get the mail, and he brings it in and he sets it down on the table because the mail is not interesting. Unfortunately, he sets the mail down on last week's mail, and that's sitting on top of mail from the week before that. So the mail started out being interesting, but then it ended up being overwhelming. And at some point, Tom just swept all the mail into a box. And it doesn't matter that there were bills that needed to be paid until the situation becomes overwhelming. And now the water gets turned off because Tom didn't pay the water bill. Now he's interested. And this doesn't just happen at home, it happens at work too. So if you see Tom sitting in a meeting, he's just seething internally because he has so much that he has to do. And these people are just wasting his time in another boring meeting. And the problem is not just the mail. It's the mundane details of human existence that we all have to deal with, like going to the doctor, like going to the dentist. And people with ADHD know they need to do them. But they're either mundane or they're overwhelming. And you can see that neither one of those situations will get the job done until the situation becomes so big that they have to address it. So these are people who are living their life in crisis all the time. So this is the corporate executive who has great ideas, but she's late getting your individual reviews done. This is a stay-at-home mom who's frantically running around all day long. But when her husband comes home, the house is a mess and she hasn't even started dinner yet. And then I would add to that, and the problem with that is, she just says, I know, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I'm an idiot, I'm a failure as a mother, I'm a failure as a wife, as a homemaker. And then you have anxiety and depression. And then it's even worse, obviously. Okay, and here's what gets interesting, because most people with ADHD are perfectionists. What's up with that? It's about the shame. Because they know what they need to do. They're clear-thinking adults, but they can't get it done. And they have a world of people who see that they're not getting things done. And they don't understand. They are not aspiring to be that person. They're trying really hard not to be that person. And it's not working. In their minds, the only way to counter the shame of not getting something done and then hearing about it is to do it perfectly. So what's the solution? The best part of this conversation is that medication helps tremendously because it's a chemical deficiency. Sally gets her ADHD treated, and now she can have creative thoughts without having that big swirl of ideas running around in her head. She can look at an email and see if she has time to answer it or she needs to save it for later. A stay-at-home mom can spend time with her kids, really being present with her kids because she's not frantically running around all the time. I mean, don't we all feel stressed at times? Have y'all heard that? I'm sure. But for some people, this is life-altering a deficit. They can't move forward, and they live a life of hidden shame. In the 28 years I've been seeing patients, in my professional opinion, I think we're looking at 2 to 3 out of 10 people. This is more prevalent than people think. But if you say that, people are like, oh, you want to put a label on everything. Everybody has something. It's a whole lot of people who could be feeling a whole lot better. That's the point. All those people knew that the reason going through this is because of ADHD, and you can treat it. It would be a better world. Okay, that was the first one.